Burning out, not having energy to do anything, neither in your business, not in your personal life. Does it sound familiar? I think this is something that every small business owner is facing very often, if not daily. That's why today our episode is about how to stay productive and how to stay creative even when you feel burned out, why we can feel burned out. And here we have today Dareen Alkotob. Dareen is an emotional fitness coach, and we are going to have a very interesting conversation, I'm sure. Hi, Dareen.
Hi, Anastasia. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. You know, you always, we have you in our conference, in our workshops, you always bring such a valuable information, and I couldn't wait to have you here in the episode. When I asked you about the reasons of burning out for the creatives and what we can do with that, you were very excited about this topic.
Yeah.
Why you think it's such an important topic for such a conversation?
We live in a world, Anastasia, where distraction is taking over, and most of our energy and attention is being stolen from us in a very subconscious way. We're constantly scrolling, we're constantly on our phones, we have so many things and tasks, and our calendars and schedules are almost always full.
Yeah.
And this is causing burnout for most of people, especially creatives and especially people who are starting their own small businesses. And what I discovered is when I speak with these small business owners, they want to create something purposeful and meaningful, but at the same time, they don't have time, energy, and focus. So that bridge is, I feel it has like, it's a two-way thing. On one hand, they are losing their time, energy, and focus, and they're having burnout. And on the other hand, they're trying to achieve meaning and purpose. So burnout is literally something that comes in between. If we don't manage our daily pillars, as I call them, our time, energy, and focus, people will face this burnout in their daily life.
It actually feels very busy, the day. And this is what I see with the mentees, with the people who I mentor in businesses. They tell me, but I'm so busy during the day. I have so many tasks and I'm really burning out because I'm too busy. But I feel like it's not because of being busy. It's because of something different, right?
Yeah, there's a very huge difference between movement and progress. A lot of people you see, they are moving. So they're like constantly busy. And unfortunately, our societies and the societal pressure is causing us to basically think of business as something that is like
doing something.
Yeah, exactly. Always. Or it's like part of us being successful at the business that we do. And I notice so many people, like they go in and out of their office, they always have meetings. And, especially when it converted into Zoom or like Microsoft Teams, when a meeting could be done over like a message or an email, but then we have all these like endless meetings during the day, and then like all these conferences and all of these tasks per day. But so people are moving. They're doing something, but are they really progressing? Are they really like growing? Are they really like focusing on what's a priority and what's important to them? Mostly it's no. And this is where like people get confused.
It feels more like, like a squirrel in a wheel when you're
Exactly.
just running all day, but you're in the same place actually, and you're not
Exactly.
moving anywhere else.
Yeah.
So how to understand that you are that squirrel in a wheel, that you are literally just wasting time and energy? How to understand it first to see, okay, yes, this is where I am now. My moving daily is not actually something that is bringing me to productivity, and eventually it will bring to burnout. How to diagnose it first?
The first word that came to mind is to pause. Just to take a moment with yourself. If you feel constantly tired, fatigued, you're always busy, you catch yourself saying, oh, I don't have time for X, I'll postpone it till tomorrow, I'll postpone it till next week. Or if you feel like what's important and what's valuable to you is always pushed, and you're procrastinating, and you start feeling the task that usually takes an hour, it's taking 3 hours. This is just a collection of different symptoms that people feel. Short answer would be just to pause, just to sit with yourself. And the easiest thing, Anastasia, is to be clear on what's important and basically what do you have. So just grab a piece of paper, sit with yourself for like 10-15 minutes and just write down what's important.
And what you are doing first.
Exactly.
Yeah? What exactly you are doing during the day or during the week, for example, where you're spending your time. Just analyze and put it on paper. What is grabbing the most of your attention and your time, and then start understanding what was important out of this and what was not.
Yeah, you know, I actually faced this 2 years ago when I started a new project with my partners. And because I felt I was juggling so many things at the same time, I did what I called back then, you know how when people go on a diet, they need to track everything they eat first?
Okay.
So I had to track where is my time spent over 4 weeks. So from Sunday to Thursday, our working days, I was literally writing down from the second I wake up till I go to sleep, what do I do? And then I started highlighting what's important. And then I highlighted with a different color what was wasting my time. And I've noticed that, for example, I'm mostly productive in the morning. So if I have any important meetings or any important tasks, I need to place that in the morning, not in the afternoon. Or, for example, that most of my time got wasted driving from one meeting to another. So I started like trying to do either Zoom meetings or trying to do all the meetings in the same area in one day. So, you know, it's like little tips here and there just to help me check where was I like wasting my time and where is leaking.
Yeah, because I think it's not only about time. It's about anything. It's about money the same, you know, in a small business when you keep on earning and you don't understand why you never have money.
Because there's no tracking.
Because there is no tracking and you don't understand where you are leaking. So the same about energy, when we are talking about energy and business and you feel exhausted and you feel like you don't have any more energy to continue sometimes. And then we start this depression and, you know, trying to get rid of business eventually. But the reason can be just not understanding where you are leaking this energy, in which processes, and what can be the reason. What about the noise that we have around, all this information and noise?
Oh my God, yeah. I feel we live in a world where like distraction is taking over. There's always noise, whether like digitally on our screens, so pages we follow on Instagram and Facebook, whether it's WhatsApp messages, emails, texts, phones. So this is one thing. And the other thing is just like meetings and meeting people in person and, you know, like collaborating suppliers and all of that. For me, I feel the most of the noise comes from our screens. So it's like the digital noise. And if we don't set clear boundaries and we don't have discipline and this willpower to just, you know, like, for example, set specific times to reply to emails or set specific times for our scrolling on our Instagram, Facebook, and the other social media, honestly, there will be a huge leak of time and energy. And what I notice is most people use the scrolling time when they feel tired. They don't realize that this actually makes them even more tired.
Yeah.
So when you're, for example, tired, just take a moment to pause and just do something different away from your screen. Or if you feel exhausted, there's no need for you to read all these emails or WhatsApp messages, because this is also taking... Exactly. Right. So it's like making sure that there's this right balance between consuming information, creating information, and then using these digital social media platforms for marketing or whatever you need for your business.
Right. First move can be understanding how much time you're spending online, let's say, and trying to limit this time at certain hours, for example. This is what you mean. I think also another way to get rid of all this noise, or at least to minimize it, is to bring new habits, such as, let's say, putting your phone away intentionally when you're doing something. For example, for me, when I start working, let's say I sit in my office, and when I have my task at my desktop, I intentionally leave my phone somewhere far. Maybe not literally outside, so I can get calls, let's say if it's something urgent, but I keep it on the other side of the room, so I don't have it always, you know, somewhere very close, because every time when the notification pops up, or I remember something, I found myself keep on looking at the screen. I can't focus properly because I keep on checking up what's happening there, you know. So since I started putting the phone to the opposite part of the room and it's like really far from me, it got much better because I'm not distracted with that anymore. Another rule that I started implemented in my routine, because I'm super busy with all the projects that I'm handling, I'm super busy. I set the certain working hours and certain leisure time where it's not allowed. I'm not allowing to myself to go over these hours. For example, my working day is finished at a certain time. I don't let myself to continue working after I'm done with my working day, and I know that I will not pick up my business phone after these hours. I will not check up my business messages. Everything will be set for the next day. And in the beginning, it was so scary. I was thinking like, how come I will not respond to a client, let's say at 8 o'clock or at night, at 10 at night, let's say. And then eventually I realized that this is not healthy. Trying as a business owner to be always there, like 24/7, always available, not setting any boundaries, not setting any limits, it's exhausting. And actually it doesn't change much significantly the flow, because the same question that I received, let's say at 10 p.m. can be responded in the morning at 10 a.m. when my working time is starting, and nothing will happen. It's not a damage to my business. When I realized it, that was like, wow, okay, so, and it started helping, like shifting things.
Yeah, because all the notifications that we get from all the different applications on our phone, they're somehow training our brain to always be responsive. And this exhausts our brain before exhausting our bodies. So the fact that we set healthy boundaries, and every business owner and even every person, they can set their own boundaries based on their lifestyles and the period they're in their life.
How about the idea that people say, but if I don't have my phone around all the time, I feel bored. Boredom. What is boredom for you in terms of how it changes creativity, productivity, and how it influences our lifestyle as business owners?
You know, it's such an interesting question, because I was reading a research paper last week, and they did a study over the past 5 years, so from 2020 till 2025, and neuroscientists discovered that boredom was the least emotion felt in human beings, which is not surprising, because everyone, they're constantly checking their phone. So let's say, for example, I'm waiting for you, I'll be checking my phone. If I'm in between appointments or a meeting, I'll be on my phone. If I'm on the plane waiting for a takeoff, you'll see like people, they're constantly on their phone. So we're not allowing ourselves to just wander and give our brain this mental space and time to just be. You know, we're called human beings, but unfortunately, we're just human doing. We're constantly doing things, you know, responding to email, replying to a WhatsApp message.
I like this definition, human doings instead of human beings. And it feels like true. So we are doing
we're
more
constantly doing. We're like doing, whether we're like scrolling, responding to emails, setting meetings. And I feel like some people get scared when they see that their day is not full. You know, for example, let's say someone cancels a meeting. You constantly feel people are like in an emergency state where, oh, I need to set another meeting with someone else to fill in this gap. But why don't we just take this opportunity, like whether this time frame or even when we're like in between meetings or appointments, to just be, because not being and not allowing ourselves to have this mental space will somehow hinder our creativity. And you know, like, you know how it's funny how they say, for example, that when you're in the shower, you get the most creative ideas. It's because you're being fully present and you're literally just focusing on the shower process. So you are giving yourself some mental space and time.
By the way, many successful people in their books, they write about this. That the only creative why we're getting creative ideas when we go to bed. When we already switched off the phone and we can't sleep because we are getting creative ideas. The same about the shower and some other places, because this is time when we feel bored, let's say bored, and we have more space, not being distracted by notifications and information. And I think a good example of that is, remember the situation when we have, let's say, internet cut, and we don't have internet anymore. The first reaction is panic, like, oh my God, what I'm
Exactly.
going to do.
Exactly.
And then gradually you start finding ideas. I remember that situation with my kids when we were in lockdown during pandemic, and we had one day when we didn't have electricity all day, and internet and phones were no batteries, and we didn't have signal. And we started making things. We started creating something, doing something with the paper, making things, cooking something, That was such a productive day, and we could complete so many tasks during the day.
Exactly.
Another thing that I think is important here, and this is what what I've read in researches for the psychologists who are dealing with kids and teenagers, because I have kids of different ages, and that's why I keep on reading what's coming up, especially related to the devices and gadgets, because I always feel that as a mom I need to somehow
screen monitor.
Understand. I'm not on the side of the parents who want to completely ban the devices. I have different opinion, but I keep on monitoring what is coming new in terms of mental health. And they say that one of the problems that our kids they have now, because they are never bored, they are losing track of time, and they are not as curious as before. They are not creating, they are not making things. And when I was reading about it, I said, but this is actually related to creatives. When you have small business, let's say, and you are making things, and you are never bored because you are always checking up what your competitors are doing, what's happening in your social media, if somebody liked your post or not, you are distracted with these things. You are not bored. In terms of having time to think of something new, how you could change your products, let's say, how you could make them better, what else you can do instead of social media to market your products, who you could approach to collaborate, for example, right?
Of course. I see it as someone who's on a racing track. If you're constantly running, you won't have this ability to just, breathe and be in touch with your body, your brain, and to, have this quick check-in, because you're just constantly running. So there's no pause, there's no reflection, there's no presence, there's no creativity. You're just on the do, and you're just running. Yeah. So taking a break, pausing, reflecting, being present, feeling bored will give people this. Boredom, like any other emotion, it's an energy in motion, and it's just a neutral signal. It's not good, it's not bad. It just gives us a chance for us just to be, just to reflect, just to pause, and then see how we want to move forward in our life.
Okay, I see. So if someone, let's say, is saying, okay, I don't know what's happening in my life and in my business right now. I just feel stressed. I feel burnt out. I don't have any creative ideas. I have no way out. What would you recommend to do, like 1, 2, 3 maybe steps to give a kind of like advice?
The first thing I would say is just to pause. And what I mean by pause is just to start tracking back. So tracking back 2 main things. As we mentioned before, the first thing is to track our 3 daily pillars: our time, our energy, and our focus, because these are limited resources that we get on a daily basis. So how are we spending our time? Where we're putting our energy, and how's our focus distraction level? Are we focusing on what's important, or are we focusing on what's not important? And the other thing to be clear on is, am I doing the meaningful work, and am I doing too much of what doesn't mean anything to me, or I'm doing too little of what's actually meaningful to me? And I feel this is a beautiful way of defining burnout. Burnout does not come when people do too much, because we as humans, we're born to be productive, but it's doing too much of what doesn't actually matter to us, and too little of what actually has so much value and what's meaningful to us.
Right.
Yeah. So this is, as a step number 1. Step number 2 would be just to be consistent and committed to this process. We can't just do it once and expect different results, We need to constantly do that. The same thing goes when people want to achieve a physical fitness goal. They go to the gym 3 times a week in order to get to the results. We need to commit to ourselves and start evaluating and reflecting. And nothing should be set in stone. We live in a world that's constantly changing.
Right.
So we shouldn't expect for us to get things from the first time. So we need to build this resilience mindset that we try and we give our all, we pause, we reflect, we evaluate, we progress, we try to create this progress, and it's just a constant cycle that moves.
Yes. Right. And I think it's why it's related to business, because in my approach, when I'm talking to the business owners and I'm working as a mentor for soulful branding and personal branding, and in the concept of soulful branding, we keep on focusing on that business is energy, and business is very much related to the personal energy of the creator, especially when we are talking about home-based businesses and businesses for creatives. So when we are talking about energy in business, that means that the way you feel and the energy that you hold is very much reflected in your business and what 100%. You create. If you feel exhausted, if you feel burnt out, if you feel distracted all the time with the noise and stuff, your business is suffering. And this is what your customers feel when you are talking to them, when you are posting in your social media, when you produce your products even. Everything is energy. Just keeping it in mind will bring you always to these foundations when you need to remind yourself that it's really important to keep yourself in a normal physical and emotional state, because this is the reason, you are the reason that is draining your business. You are the reason why your products are not selling 100%. And why your customers are not coming back to you, right?
Yeah. The most important commodity of every business owner is their energy and their attention.
Right.
So it's just protecting our energy and attention in the best way we can.
Right. Thank you so much, Dareen.
Thank you,
That was
Anastasia.
such an interesting talk, and I'm sure that we gave some base, like pillars, let's say, and created a baseline, let's say, something that can be taken as an advice for many, and it was really a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you, Anastasia.
Thank you.